Shalom, shalom, everybody. What it is, it's your brother Yaakov, Woodrow, James, whichever one rolls off the tongue, man. Here to talk to y'all this week about a very, very, very important topic, man. You better watch who y'all call y'all brothers, sisters, whatever else y'all call y'all friends, associates, or whatever, man. Make sure they earn that title. Let's get into it, man. We're going to talk about some very famous brothers and some things that they did to their brothers that wasn't so brotherly. Because everybody always want to be like, oh, but that's your brother, man. Oh, and then to the lady, they probably like, oh, that's your sister. So, let's get into what the word says, man. Matter of fact, give me 1 second. Let me cut my heat off real quick. Sit in the cold to bring y'all this word, man. Hang on. I'm back. I ain't want nobody not be able to hear me. Let's start with this one. Genesis chapter 4, verse 8. And Cain talked with his brother Abel. Cain talked with Abel, his brother, And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. Let's get it out of New Living Translation. One day Cain suggested to his brother, let's go out into the field. And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Let's get this one. Still in the book of Genesis, but right now we're in chapter 37. We're going to do the whole chapter. And I'm going to read it from the God's Word translation, but if you want to hear it from the King James or see it from the King James or any other version, feel free to go ahead and look it up. Genesis chapter 37, God's Word translation. And it's subtitled, Joseph's Brothers Sell Him into Slavery. Jacob continued to live in the land of Canaan, where his father had lived. This is the account of Jacob and his descendants. Joseph was a 17-year-old young man. He took care of the flocks with the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wives. Joseph told his father about the bad things his brothers were doing. Israel loved Joseph more than all his sons because Joseph had been born in Israel's old age. Israel and Jacob is the same person, so it's no confusion, but they use the names interchangeably in this translation. Let me read that again. Israel loved Joseph more than all his sons because Joseph had been born in Israel's old age. So he made Joseph a special robe with long sleeves that people call the coat of many colors. That's what my granny used to call it when she used to read me the story. And I think it's a play or something, Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor coat or something like that. That's the same account. So he made Joseph a special robe with long sleeves. Joseph's brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them. They hated Joseph and couldn't speak to him on friendly terms. Verse 5. Joseph had a dream, and when he told his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, please listen to the dream I had. We were tying grain into bundles out in the field, and suddenly mine stood up. It remained standing while your bundles gathered around my bundle and bowed down to it. Then his brothers asked him, are you going to be our king or rule over us? They hated him even more for his dreams and his words. Then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers. Listen, he said, I had another dream, and I saw the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing down to me. When he told his father and his brothers, his father criticized him by asking, what's this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers come and bow down in front of you? So his brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept thinking about these things. He kept it in the back of his mind. His brothers had gone to take care of their father's flocks in Shechem. Israel then said to Joseph, your brothers are taking care of the flocks at Shechem. I'm going to send you to them. Joseph responded, I'll go. So Israel said, see how your brothers and the flocks are doing, and bring some news back to me. Then he sent Joseph away from Hebron Valley. When Joseph came to Shechem, a man found him wandering around in the open country. "What are you looking for?" the man asked. Joseph replied, "I'm looking for my brothers. Please tell me where they're taking care of their flocks." The man said, "They've moved on from here. I heard them say, 'Let's go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan. They saw him from a distance. Before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. They said to each other, "Here comes that master dreamer. Let's kill him. Throw him into the cisterns." A cistern is a receptacle for water or reservoir. I always see it depicted in the stories of Joseph like a well, like a hole in the ground. So, and say that a wild animal has eaten him. Then we'll see what happens to his dreams. When Reuben heard this, he tried to save Joseph from their plot. "Let's not kill him," he said. "Let's not have any bloodshed. Put him into that cistern that's out in the desert, but don't hurt him." Reuben wanted to rescue Joseph from them and bring him back to his father. So when Joseph reached his brothers, they stripped him of his special robe with long sleeves. Then they took him and put him into an empty cistern. It had no water in it. As they sat down to eat, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were carrying the materials for cosmetics, medicine, and embalming. They were on their way to take them to Egypt. Judah, another one of the brothers, asked his brothers, "What will we gain by killing our brother and covering up his death? Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. Let's not hurt him, because he is our brother, our own flesh and blood." His brothers agreed. As the Midianite merchants were passing by, the brothers pulled Joseph out of the cistern. They sold him to the Ishmaelites for 8 ounces of silver. The Ishmaelites took him to Egypt. So, we all know how the story ends, or if you don't, just continue to read on and read the rest of Genesis and you'll see how it all plays out. That happened, and it was a bad thing for Joseph at the time, but he ended up being the ruler, and they all did end up having to bow down to him, and he actually forgave his brothers. He told them they meant what they did for evil, but the Most High meant it for good to save much people alive. But the more to what we getting at right now, these is blood brothers. They said it right there themselves. Their own flesh and blood that did that to that man. So a lot of times when people do somebody bad or somebody say they don't deal with somebody, that's the first thing that people like to say. "Oh, that's your brother. You shouldn't be like that. That's your brother." But then what ended up happening in the first account that we read in Genesis, the first one, Cain and Abel, Cain slew his brother Abel, or killed his brother Abel. Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery. So just because somebody is your brother, your flesh and blood, don't mean that you always should trust them. If you know some counterintelligence or you know something about them or you had experiences why you don't deal with somebody, you don't never let nobody guilt you into dealing with nobody. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Then we got people in this world, somebody might not even be flesh and blood, but just because they used to seeing y'all together, or they know y'all used to hang real tough back in the days. People just always want things the way that they were. They don't like change. They hate change. Even if change is for the better or change is for your own self-preservation. People tend not to understand that. But I saw a meme that said people don't care if you're okay. They just care if you're okay enough to do what it is that they want you to do. And I found that to be very true in my dealings with people in this world. Let's continue on with the scriptures. This is Sirach Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verses 10 through 12. "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not altogether been wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit by thee at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. Let's get it from the Good News Translation so we make sure everybody understand what that said. Never trust an enemy. His wickedness is as destructive as rust. Watch out and be on guard against him, even if he acts ever so humble. I just seen something say a snake only shed his skin to become a bigger snake. He is like a metal mirror that rusts away if you don't keep it polished. You gotta keep on top of that. Stay sharp. Watch him. This is verse 12. See the enemy at your right hand, and the next thing you know, he'll be trying to get your own place of honor. Put him next to you, and he'll overthrow you. Then you'll realize the truth of my words and be stung with them right when you remember them. Stung with regret, sorry, my handwriting. When you remember them, I probably got excited when I was writing it. Let me read it again. Put him next to you and he'll overthrow you. Then you will realize the truth of my words, that warning that he just gave out, and be stung with regret when you remember them. But it'd probably be too late by then. You'll be like, dang, he tried to tell me. He did say that, but then it'd be too late. Verse 13. Nobody feels sorry for snake charmers or wild animal tamers who get bitten. These people these days do. But in these days, they was a little more stern. And nobody will feel sorry for you if you run around with sinners and get hurt. Get involved in their wrongdoing. Sorry, if you get involved in their wrongdoing. These days, people will, though. They get mad at the ones who see the evil and hide themselves, as Proverbs say. He left too soon. Oh, give him another chance. Oh, don't be like that. Oh, I sure would love to see y'all together just one more time. Oh, can you just give us one more? Oh. Then when something happened to you, they be the same ones talking about they sorry. But that's all they can say, is they sorry. Won't be nothing they can do to help you. So listen to your mind and the mind that the Most High put in you. Because this world right now is upside down, just like Isaiah chapter 29 verse 16 says, the turning of things upside down. That's what we are experiencing all over the place these days. This is Sirach Ecclesiasticus chapter 4 verses 20 through 22. Observe the opportunity and beware of evil, and be not ashamed when it concerneth thy soul. For there is a shame that bringeth sin, and there is a shame which is glory and grace. Accept no person against thy soul, and let not the reverence of any man cause thee to fall. Good News Translation. Self-confidence. Take advantage of opportunities, but guard yourself against evil. Don't underrate yourself. Humility deserves honor and respect, but a low opinion of yourself leads to sin. That's why so many people do so many bad things. What Kanye West say, the prettiest people do the ugliest things, because a lot of them have a low opinion of themselves, a low self-esteem. Do not let others, verse 22, do not let others have their way at your expense. Do not bring on your own ruin by giving up your rights. If you think somebody better than you, or for a couple dollars or anything like that, oh, I gotta get that bag, I gotta get that yawn. Sometimes on the way to that bag, it say there's a road way to seem right to a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Sometimes you don't even make it to that bag. Don't even be worth it for real. This is, alright, let's get our weekly New Testament fix. Because I'm pretty much an OT man for the most part, but let me get something out the New Testament for anybody who wanted to hear it out of there. So they might say, oh, that was the old, things changed since then. Let me get y'all something. Everybody something out the New Testament. Hold fast. This is Matthew chapter 12, verse 46 through 50. While he yet talked to the people, is talking about Hamashiach, or who the world calls Jesus. While he yet talked to the people, Behold, his mother and his brethren stood without. They stood outside, desiring to speak to him. They wanted to have a word with him. Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. Your mother and your brother outside, they want to holler at you. But he answered and said unto him that told him, Who is my mother? And who are my brethren? Who is my mother? Who is my brothers? And he stretched out forth his hand towards his disciples and said, Behold, my mother and my brethren. For whomsoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the Heavenly Father, the Most High Yah, the same is my mother and sister and brother. So that's who our mother and brothers and sisters are, the ones that's doing the will of our Heavenly Father, man. People will call somebody your brother. Y'all don't got no blood ties. Y'all don't got nothing in common just because y'all used to hang back in the day. That's your brother. Y'all don't be like that. I mean, the whole time you got your reasons why you don't deal with that quote-unquote brother. Well, for the ladies, I'm sure they be trying to put y'all up here. That's your sister. Nah, it ain't. Nah, it ain't. So, this is Micah chapter 7, verse 5. You gotta be careful with everybody these days. Trust ye not in a friend. Put ye not confidence in a guide. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. Let's get another translation of that one. Contemporary English version. Don't trust anyone, not even your best friend, and be careful what you say to the one you love. Gotta be careful out here these days, man. I'm from Baltimore. They always say be more careful. And these days everybody got to be more careful. This is Sirach Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, verse 13. Separate thyself from thine enemies, and take heed of thy friends. Good News Translation. Stay away from your enemies, and be on guard against your friends. Common English Bible puts it this way. Stay away from your enemies, and be careful with your friends. Just be careful, man. And don't just let anybody guilt you into being around somebody or hanging out with somebody. If you had a revelation or you seen some things that caused you to stop dealing with somebody, stop making this world make you think that everybody got to hang out and be buddy all the time. You can forgive. Forgiveness does not always require reconnection. So just because you don't want to be around somebody, that don't mean you don't have no forgiveness. That don't mean you got hate in your heart. That don't mean that you mean-spirited or whatever people try to tell you these days. People be having their reasons why they don't hang with certain people and why they don't do business with certain people or why they don't want nothing to do with certain people. Now, if you're just doing it just to be doing it, then maybe them things they say apply. But if you're not doing it, if you got your reasons, you done discern something or you done had something revealed to you or you done experienced stuff even, don't let nobody guilt you into that, man. Take it from somebody who knows. Take it from somebody who's been there. Somebody who's still there, still goes through it. But through this power of the Most High that He's put in me, I'm going to stand firm. So I'm here to let y'all know, y'all stand firm too, man. And until next time, may the Most High bless and keep and be with each and every one of y'all. Love y'all from the bottom of my heart. And let me say, Shalom.